There's a photograph that went viral in 2012. A judge, a white man in a suit, shaking hands in a Mississippi courtroom, both smiling slightly, like business had been concluded satisfactorily. The caption that spread across social media, "Justice for some." But rewind 6 hours earlier. That same courtroom, that same judge, 3 teenage boys standing before him. Same crime, same evidence, same night. 2 black boys sentenced to 5 years in prison. 1 white boy walks free. The question that exploded across the internet: how does the same crime get 3 different punishments? The answer America doesn't want to face. It depends on the color of your skin. Mississippi, 2012. A corner store robbery worth less than $200. And a justice system that showed its true face for anyone willing to look. If you think justice should be blind, hit that like button and drop a comment. Have you ever witnessed injustice like this? Your story matters. Let's go back to where it started. 3 16-year-olds, all sophomores, all thought they were friends. DeMarco Fields, Tarek Owens, Bradley Kent. It was Bradley's idea from the beginning. Late August night, humidity thick enough to choke on, cicadas screaming in the darkness. "Let's hit up Mr. Chen's corner store," Bradley said, leaning against his truck. He never locks the back door properly. Easy in, easy out. DeMarco hesitated. "Man, I don't know about this." Bradley laughed. That easy confidence that comes from never having consequences. "Come on, it's not like we're robbing a bank. Just some snacks, whatever's in the register. Easy money. We'll split it 3 ways." Tarek was caught in the middle, wanting to fit in, wanting to seem cool, ignoring the voice in his head that said this was a mistake. The plan was simple. Bradley would scope it out, make sure the coast was clear. DeMarco and Tarek would go into the back, grab what they could. All 3 would split. Simple. Stupid. The kind of thing teenage boys do when they think they're invincible. They hit the store just after midnight. Clumsy and amateur, nervous laughter masking fear. DeMarco's hands shaking as he stuffed chips and candy bars into a backpack. Tarek grabbing loose bills from the register, 1s and 5s. Nothing major. Less than $200 total. The rush of adrenaline. The stupid thrill of doing something wrong. Then the sirens. Red and blue lights cutting through the darkness like knives. A neighbor had heard glass breaking. Made the call. Police arrived within minutes. All 3 boys found within 2 blocks. Evidence on them. Caught red-handed. But here's where the story splits. DeMarco and Tarek, hands wrenched behind their backs, slammed against a patrol car hard enough to knock the wind out, handcuffs biting into their wrists. Bradley, officer's hand on his shoulder, almost gentle. "Son, you need to tell us what happened here." The same crime, the same night, already being treated like 2 different worlds. DeMarco felt the officer's knee dig into his back as rough hands searched his pockets. "You think you're tough?" The officer growled in his ear. "You think stealing is cool?" His face pressed into the gravel. Taste of blood and dirt in his mouth. Trying not to cry because he was 16 and supposed to be a man, but terrified in a way he'd never been before. Next to him, Tarek wasn't trying. Tears streamed down his face as they cuffed him, his whole body shaking. Both of them searched aggressively, pockets turned inside out, treated like they were dangerous, like they might be armed, like they were hardened criminals instead of scared kids who'd made a stupid mistake. 15 minutes in handcuffs before being shoved into separate patrol cars. No phone calls. No parents contacted. Just 2 terrified boys in the back of police cars, watching their lives fall apart. Meanwhile, 50 feet away, a different scene was unfolding. Bradley Kent sat on the curb. No handcuffs. The officer squatted down to his level, voice calm. "Whose idea was this, son? Were you pressured into it?" Bradley knew exactly what to say. "Those guys said they were just going to look around. I didn't know they were actually going to take stuff. I tried to tell them it was a bad idea, but..." The lie forming. Being accepted without question. Sheriff Mason arrived, flashlight in hand. He looked at Bradley and something clicked. "You're Doug Kent's boy, aren't you? I went to school with your old man." Bradley nodded. Yes, sir. Let me give him a call. One phone call. That's all it took. Mr. Kent, we got your son down here at Mr. Chen's store. There's been an incident, but we're sorting it out. You might want to come down. Bradley's father arrived 20 minutes later. Lawyer already on speed dial. Handshakes with the sheriff. Quiet conversations out of earshot. DeMarco and Tarek's parents? Not called for over 2 hours. By the time Mrs. Fields and Mrs. Owens made it to the police station, frantic, terrified, having heard through the grapevine that their sons had been arrested, their boys had already been processed, charged, photographed like criminals, orange jumpsuits, mugshots, the whole dehumanizing machinery of the justice system already in motion. Mrs. Fields saw her son through the glass partition, and something inside her shattered. DeMarco wouldn't look at her. Couldn't. The shame was too heavy. Bradley was released to his parents' custody that same night. DeMarco and Tarek were held in juvenile detention. Bail set impossibly high, $5,000 each. More money than their families had. Same crime, same night, 2 different Americas. 6 weeks later, the courtroom was packed. Judge Preston Harlow presiding. 30 years on the bench. White hair combed back. Stern face. Known for being tough on crime, which in Mississippi meant something very specific. The prosecution's case was straightforward. Burglary. All 3 boys caught with stolen goods. The evidence was undeniable. But the stories told about these boys couldn't have been more different. Bradley's defense attorney. Expensive, polished, the kind you get when your father makes 6 figures, stood before the judge like he was giving a TED Talk. Your Honor, Bradley is a good kid who made one terrible mistake. He has a 3.2 GPA. He's on the baseball team. He volunteers at his church. His whole future is ahead of him. One night of poor judgment shouldn't define the rest of his life. Character witnesses paraded through. Teachers, coaches, his pastor talking about what a fine young man he was. His father in the front row, suit and tie, projecting respectability and concern. The narrative was clear. A momentary lapse in judgment from an otherwise promising young man who deserves a second chance. Then came DeMarco and Tarek's turn. Public defenders. Overworked. Underpaid. Juggling 50 cases at once. They presented the basic facts and called it a day. No character witnesses. Their parents couldn't afford to miss work to testify. And even if they could, would anyone listen? Their families sat in the back row, wearing their Sunday best, but it didn't matter. The judgment had already been made before they walked in. The prosecutor painted them as the ringleaders despite all evidence pointing to Bradley. These young men broke into a business establishment. They stole from a hard-working member of our community. They showed complete disregard for the law and for the values we hold in this town. The implication hung in the air. These are the dangerous ones. These are the ones we need to fear. Judge Harlow cleared his throat. The courtroom went silent. His sentencing speech was long, theatrical, about respect for law and order, and sending a message in accountability. He looked directly at DeMarco and Tarek. I've seen too many young people think they can get away with criminal behavior, that they can disrespect our laws and our community without consequences. It's my duty to set an example. The words fell like hammers. 5 years in the State Youth Correctional Facility. Maybe that will teach you the seriousness of your actions. The gasp rippled through the courtroom. Mrs. Fields collapsed. Her sister caught her before she hit the floor. Tarek's mother screamed, 5 years? 5 years for $200. Security moved toward her. Silence her grief. Silence her rage. DeMarco stood frozen. 5 years. He'd be 21 when he got out. His entire youth gone. Then Judge Harlow turned to Bradley. The tone shifted. Softened. Son, I can see you've got potential. You made a mistake, but I don't think prison is the answer for you. I believe in second chances for young people who show remorse. Probation. Community service. A sealed juvenile record that would disappear when he turned 18. The courtroom erupted, half in outrage, half in uncomfortable silence. DeMarco's public defender tried to object. Your Honor, These boys committed the same crime. The sentences have been handed down. This court is adjourned. The gavel fell. And then it happened. Bradley's father approached the bench, extended his hand. Judge Harlow shook it, both men exchanging a look that said more than words ever could. A photographer from the local paper caught it. Flash. That image will haunt them all. Pause here. Does this sound like justice to you? Drop a comment with your honest reaction. And if you're feeling what I'm feeling, smash that subscribe button. We're exposing these stories. The photo appeared in the local paper the next morning. Judge Harlow and Doug Kent. Handshake, both with slight smiles, like business had been concluded satisfactorily. The caption, Justice served in corner store burglary case. But someone saw that photo and saw something different. They posted to Facebook with a new caption, 2 black boys, 5 years in prison. 1 white boy, probation. Same crime, same courtroom. Tell me again how justice is blind. The image spread like wildfire. Shared, retweeted, reposted, screenshotted, and passed around until it was everywhere. Within 48 hours, 2 million views. The comments section became a reckoning. This is why people don't trust the system. That handshake says everything. Modern-day lynching, just using courtrooms instead of rope. I'm so tired. So tired. Local news picked it up, then regional, then national. CNN ran a segment. Justice in Mississippi, a tale of 2 sentences. Civil rights organizations mobilized. NAACP, ACLU, Southern Poverty Law Center, all demanding answers, demanding justice, demanding the case be reopened. Protests erupted outside the courthouse. Hundreds of people holding signs. Free DeMarco and Tarek. Equal crime, equal time. Justice is supposed to be blind. Online petitions gather hundreds of thousands of signatures. Journalists started digging into Judge Harlow's record. What they found was damning. 20 years of sentencing data showing a clear, undeniable pattern. White defendants consistently receiving lighter sentences. Black defendants consistently receiving maximum penalties for the same crimes, with the same criminal histories. The numbers didn't lie. Judge Harlow had been doing this for decades, and nobody had stopped him. The state's response? The judge followed the law. Each case is evaluated on its individual merits. We have full confidence in Judge Harlow's integrity. Translation, we see the problem. We're not going to fix it. Appeals were filed on behalf of DeMarco and Tarek. Every single one denied. The boys remained locked up while Bradley finished his community service hours and went back to school like nothing had happened. The system had spoken, and it had said exactly what it always says. Some lives matter more than others. Inside the youth correctional facility, time moved differently. Not slower, not faster, just different. Heavy, like walking through concrete. This wasn't rehabilitation. This was punishment. Pure and simple. DeMarco and Tarek woke to the same buzzer every morning. Head counts, metal trays, concrete walls painted institutional beige, bars on every window, guards who looked at them like they were animals that needed to be caged. They missed everything that makes you a teenager. Junior prom, senior year, graduation caps thrown into the air, first jobs, first real relationships, first taste of freedom and independence. All of it stolen. Letters came from home. DeMarco's little sister asking when he was coming back. His mother's handwriting getting shakier each time, the weight of it all breaking her down. Visiting days were torture. Their parents drove 3 hours each way when they could afford the gas, subjected themselves to humiliating searches, sat across from their sons for 30 minutes at a time with a glass partition between them. Mrs. Fields worked double shifts at the hospital to keep the house, to pay for phone calls at $1 a minute, to send commissary money so her son could buy toothpaste and soap. She watched DeMarco grow harder through that glass, quieter, more distant, the light in his eyes dimming a little more each visit. Year 3, Tarek's father died of a heart attack. Stress, grief, a broken heart that finally gave out. Tarek wasn't allowed to attend the funeral. Policy, security risk. He was shackled to a bed in the medical unit while they buried his father. The cruelty of that, being denied even the dignity of saying goodbye. Meanwhile, outside those walls, life went on. Bradley Kent graduated high school, walked across the stage to polite applause, his record sealed. No one knew what he'd done except the people who decided it didn't matter. He went to community college, worked part-time at his father's business, dated, partied, lived the life of a normal young man. He thought about DeMarco and Tark sometimes, felt vaguely guilty, but not guilty enough to speak up, not guilty enough to tell the truth. The system had worked for him. Why question it? Inside, DeMarco turned 21 behind bars. His entire youth, 16 to 21, lived in a cage. The years when you're supposed to figure out who you are, what you want, where you're going. The years when you make mistakes and learn from them and grow. Gone. And it wasn't just time stolen. It was everything that came with it. Convicted felons. That's what they were now. That label would follow them forever. Job applications that would be denied. Housing applications rejected. College dreams deferred indefinitely. The permanent stain that never washes out. 5 years served in full. No early release. No clemency. Every single day of that sentence. The day they walked out, the sun was too bright. The world too loud. Everything unfamiliar. Their families tried to celebrate. Balloons. A small party. Tears of relief. But everyone knew the truth you don't say out loud. You can't get those years back. You can't undo what was done. They were free, but they would never be the boys they were supposed to become. DeMarco Fields got a job at a warehouse. Loading trucks. Minimum wage. The only place that would hire someone with a felony conviction. He applied to dozens of places. Each time, we'll let you know. Then silence. The conviction hung around his neck like an anchor. Targ enrolled in community college, trying to salvage something from the wreckage of his youth. But he couldn't focus. PTSD from 5 years of incarceration. Depression that hit in waves. Nightmares about being back inside. Both of them carried the weight of convicted felon forever. Meanwhile, Judge Preston Harlow retired in 2015 with full pension and honors. 30 years of service. Awards. Plaques. A ceremony where people praise his dedication to justice. No accountability. No consequences. No acknowledgement of the lives he destroyed. Bradley Kent moved to a neighboring state. Worked in his father's business. Got married. Had kids. The past sealed away. Convenient to forget. Life went on. For some of them. But here's the truth that keeps DeMarco awake at night. This wasn't an isolated incident. This is the system working exactly as designed. Studies show black defendants receive sentences 20% longer than white defendants for identical crimes. Not similar. Identical. The school-to-prison pipeline disproportionately funnels black and brown youth into a system designed to swallow them whole. Judges, prosecutors, juries, all operated within a framework built on inequality, making decisions influenced by bias they may not even recognize. Tough on crime, policies that really mean tough on black and brown people. The myth of blind justice crumbles under the weight of the data. Justice sees color. Justice sees wealth. Justice sees connections. And it decides accordingly. DeMarco became a community activist, telling his story to anyone who will listen. High schools, community centers, anywhere they'll have him. They took 5 years of my life for $200, he says, his voice steady now, hardened by experience. Meanwhile, white-collar criminals steal millions and get probation. Politicians commit crimes and get pardons. Tell me that's justice. Look me in the eye and tell me the system isn't rigged. Tark is still fighting, still struggling, still angry, and he has every right to be. Bradley can decline to comment when journalists tracked him down for anniversary pieces. The story resurfaces every few years. Remember when? Articles. Social media posts. Brief moments of outrage before the news cycle moves on. But DeMarco and Tark can't forget. It's written on their records. It's written in the 5 years they can never get back. It's written on their lives in permanent ink. The question that haunts them, that should haunt all of us, How many more DeMarcos and Tariqs are sitting in cells right now for crimes that Bradley's walked away from? How many more judges are shaking hands with fathers who have the right last name, the right skin color, the right connections? How long will we keep pretending this is about crime and not about who we decided deserves punishment and who deserves mercy? If this makes you angry, good. It should. Share this video. Let's make sure stories like this don't stay buried. Hit that share button now. In parts of America, in courtrooms from Mississippi to California, from Texas to New York, justice doesn't depend on what you did. It depends on who you are, what you look like, who your father knows, whether the judge sees potential or threat when he looks at you. We told you about the Wilson family last time. Police called on 2 boys for playing basketball in their own neighborhood. Now DeMarco and Tariq, 5 years stolen for a crime all 3 boys committed equally. Different stories. Same truth. The system sees color before it sees humanity. And until we acknowledge this, really acknowledge it, not just with hashtags and performative outrage, but with structural change, nothing will be different. Judge Harlow retired with honors. DeMarco works in a warehouse. Bradley moved on with his life like none of it ever happened. And somewhere tonight, in another courtroom, another judge is deciding another fate. Another black boy standing where DeMarco stood. Another set of parents watching their child disappear into a system designed to swallow them. Another Bradley walking free because the system was built to protect him. This isn't about one bad judge or one racist town. This is about a justice system that has always operated on 2 different tracks. One for those deemed worthy of redemption, one for those deemed disposable. Justice isn't blind. It never was. The scales were rigged from the start. And until we stop pretending otherwise, until we dismantle the structures that allow this to keep happening, stories like DeMarco's and Tariq's will continue. The real question isn't whether this is unjust. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Subscribe if you want more stories the system doesn't want told. Comment, what would you do to fix this broken system? And share this video everywhere. Because DeMarco and Tariq's story isn't over. And neither is the fight for real justice.